Why don't people know how the Electoral College actually works? The Electoral College is a system the founding fathers of the US created in order to put a buffer between the popular vote and the highest government office. That's the long and short of it anyway, more on that later. I see people blathering on about the Electoral College a lot lately, which makes sense as it is suddenly relevant again, more so than usual given the recent controversies and lefty attempts to justify undermining it. It seems to have started off by simply being impossible for Trump to win because electoral route. The media and political orthodoxy and consensus was that Trump had no way of winning because he would never approach the 270 electoral votes needed to win. The establishment figured that states that went for Obama would never go for Trump because they took historical trends for granted. The reasoning here was generally sound, even if it was ultimately wrong, and at the time I saw it was obvious bullshit. I knew about the oversampling being done to give Clinton an undeserved numerical advantage, but no one knew just how bad it would be until after the election. Those fuckers were obviously full of shit though. Looking at how wrong they were now is kind of funny. 342 electoral votes for Clinton. Then after the election, people started coming out of the woodwork, claiming to be constitutional experts or something, and promptly began spewing stupid shit about the electoral process. I've seen a bunch of nonsense ranging from people calling for the electors to switch their vote, to people harassing the electors to vote a specific way, and even people calling for the popular vote to count instead of the Electoral College, for no stated reasons whatsoever. The most common thing I saw after the election, but before the final Electoral College vote, were people noting that electors were initially chosen to vote on behalf of their constituency, but they can and did vote for anyone who was on the ballot. That meant that electors would themselves be the ones who were elected by the popular vote in their district, and later they'd vote for someone on the ballot for the president. They sort of got it right. It's true that the Electoral College was created to prevent the dangers some of the founders, and particularly the Federalists, saw coming with a direct democracy and popular vote. Federalist number 68 deals explicitly with that. It says, "It was equally desirable that the immediate election should be made by men most capable of analyzing the qualities adapted to the station, and acting under circumstances favorable to the deliberation and to the judicious combination of all the reasons and inducements which were proper to govern their choice. A small number of persons, selected by their fellow citizens from the general mass, will be most likely to possess the information and discernment requisite for such complicated investigations." I think that means the electors were going to be expected to choose candidates based on their own judgment, rather than what their district voted for. It actually means that there should be a separation between the popular vote and the highest office, in order to prevent popular tyranny. That population should vote for an electoral representative, someone of good quality and character who understands political and legal issues, and allow them to pick who they think would be the best president. The whole thing was supposed to be devoid of party politics or considerations because there were never supposed to be any major political parties in the first place. It's supposed to be based on individual decisions and merits, individual liberty, rather than party platforms and umbrellas. There's never supposed to be a presidential candidate which the population was supposed to even vote for. It was supposed to go for a representative. That means the founders did indeed intend for the electors to vote for whomever they wanted. They were supposed to vote for the candidate they thought would do the best job, and was the most qualified and rationally sound. That would suggest the faithless electors phenomenon is legit. However, in the same paper, Hamilton says this: "It was also desirable to afford as little opportunity as possible to tumult and disorder. This evil was not least to be dreaded in the election of a magistrate, who was to have so important an agency in the administration of the government as the President of the United States. But the precautions which have been so happily concerted in the system under consideration promise an effectual security against this mischief. The choice of several to form an intermediate body of electors will be much less apt to convulse the community with extraordinary or violent movements than the choice of one who was himself to be the final object of public wishes. And as the electors are to assemble and vote in the state in which they are chosen, this detached and divided situation will expose them much less to heats and ferments, which might be communicated from them to the people, than if they were all to be convened at one time and in one place." Which I think means the founders did not want there to be any serious trouble. They didn't want problems. Number 68 directly says that they want to avoid tumult and disorder. They wanted to avoid people bothering the electors and harassing them, trying to get them to vote some specific way. They didn't want celebrities or any other electors or any of the people or any other dipshits bothering the electors at all. They wanted everything to be calm and orderly because they thought this was the path to the best result. Likewise, the whole point of the Constitution, as a compromise between Federalists like Madison Jay and Hamilton, and Anti-Federalists like Patrick Henry and Samuel Bryan, was to set up a federal government and system of laws which would work in tandem with specific state laws. This whole thing was written intending to work with states who would choose their own electoral policy, provided it falls in line with the Constitution and legally preserves the spirit of state sovereignty and individual liberty, plus the federal hierarchy governing it. That other states used this intended and perfectly legal process to change their electoral procedures is totally fine and well within the purview of the Constitution. After the emergence of political parties and their platforms, many states changed their electoral procedures so that electors were selected from parties to vote for that party's candidate. I actually think that the older way is better because it avoids the pitfalls of party politics and stops everything from becoming polemic. However, history did not go that way, and now that we have parties and all the baggage that comes with them, they're probably here to stay. As such, and because the processes by which most of these states changed their electoral system was legal and well within the spirit and intention of the Constitution, the so-called faithless electors kind of missed the updated point. As some later found out, if you do not vote in compliance with your state's procedures, they can throw you out and replace you with an alternate. That's fine too. Both situations are permissible and totally legal. That some electors don't seem to understand that states can and have updated their laws to strongly encourage and outright demand electors vote in line with their state's wishes concerns me. How could electors not understand this process? How could they miss both the spirit of the Constitution and law within their own communities? I don't know, but I suspect it ranges from general ignorance to outright stupidity and perhaps corruption. Regardless, the process worked, and all of these fucking shills pretending to know how it works and explaining it incorrectly every time is hilarious to me. That some random uneducated dipshit with an internet connection can learn all this in about 5 minutes, yet big-name politicians like Clinton and Pelosi and all of the media either lied about it or don't get it. Pisses me off. If they lied about it, they intentionally tried to undermine our electoral and legal processes, which is tantamount to malfeasance. If they're too stupid and just don't know how it works, then their district states utterly failed electing them to a body that writes their laws. If they're corrupt and lying, well, draw your own conclusions. It's probably a bit of both because they all appear to be both stupid and corrupt. Too stupid to know how it works, and too corrupt to care. What faithless electors don't seem to get is the difference between morals and ethics. Though some think that they are synonymous, you can codify certain things about each, which shows the clear distinctions. Morals are more about personal choices, what you should do or should not do, and why. Ethics are more a societal standard, what should or should not be done, and why. Morally, faithless electors are justified voting for whomever they want, based on whatever criteria they want. However, it would not be ethical to potentially violate state law, and certainly their pledge to vote for the will of the people. What society wants you to do is literally what ethics are, and if society wants you to vote a specific way, not doing it would be unethical, in every way I can think of. The only real qualifications you need to fulfill the president are the constitutional ones. You have to be at least 35 years of age, born in the United States, and a permanent resident for at least 14 years. The founders were also a bit more worried than we are in regards to tyranny and outside interference. They were worried about opportunists because they knew a power vacuum would draw in lots of opportunists and power-hungry people to fill it. The Bolsheviks did not exist yet, but history was so replete with ambitious and terrible people just like them, the founders knew that something bad was going to happen. They were also worried about foreign powers cozying up to a candidate and worming their way into our government. They had good reason to worry, as Great Britain was not too happy that they just lost their lucrative colonies, and a bunch of other European colonial powers had their eyes on this new prize. The founders knew that they had to be damn careful who they let in. While we still have some of those concerns, they are not as plausible or as likely anymore. The comparison from then to now is too broad to be meaningful. They are not the same countries, governments, or people. We don't have the same problems anymore. Lastly, fuck everyone in our government who does not intimately understand this process, especially the legislator shills like Pelosi and Reid, who have to be too stupid to know how their government and constitution works, and too corrupt to care even if they knew how it did. Fuck the stupid electors who do not know how their one sole job worked. Fuck the stupid shills going on cable news and writing fake news articles, spreading misinformation, and not having any damn clue as to how the process works. Fuck all of them.